I do want to personally congratulate you. I tweeted this on Saturday night. No one in that Hall of Fame deserves to be in there any more on and off the field than Derrick Brooks does. Now, yesterday, near the end of our show, after we uttered those words that you just saw in that clip leading into this segment, I looked down at my phone and I have a text message from one Derrick Brooks, who has a bone to pick because we had just talked about the Steel Curtain Steelers and the 2000 Ravens and the 85 Bears and, of course, what we saw on Sunday night from these Seattle Seahawks, the Legion of Boom. And not once on First Take yesterday did the 2002 Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense come up. So I give the floor back to you. Explain to me why your defense belonged in that debate.
I feel our defense, for whether you talk about a one season or you talk about the course of time, I think Tampa Bay defense of the late 90s and early 2000s deserve to be in any conversations. When you look at how we performed over a consistent basis for years, how we performed in the 2002 season, I think a lot of that kind of speaks for itself. And take nothing away from Seattle and what they did this past Sunday. I picked them to win, and I said they would play great defensively. I've seen this story. I've been a part of this story with a great defense playing a great offense. So I know what can happen. And I think the difference in what we did from a defensive standpoint, we put the ball in the end zone. When you talk about all those other defenses, you look at how many times we scored that season, 9 times. So we came offensive. And we didn't have, a great offense at the time. Obviously, Coach Gruden coming over affected our football team, and it brought a different attitude to our organization offensively. But if you put up the numbers in all the categories, 2002 Buccaneers team deserves to be in that conversation. Now, whether we 1, 2, 3, or 4, I don't know. But the fact that you guys did include us in any of those conversations, Skip, I had a little bone to pick with you and Stephen A.
Derrick Brooks, I must admit publicly, I stand corrected. I went back last night, this morning, I looked at the numbers. I must tell our viewing audience that year, 2002's Tampa Bay defense had better statistical numbers across the board than this year's Seattle defense did. That year in the playoffs, you shut down what I thought was a high-flying, fast-scoring San Francisco Jeff Garcia offense. You beat them 31-6, albeit at home. But then you went up to Philly, and you did a 27-10 number on Donovan McNabb and company. Then you went to the Super Bowl, and here, Derrick, is why I've always attached an asterisk to what you did and why I've discounted your achievement in the Super Bowl. Obviously, at that point, I was actually covering the Oakland Raiders. They were the #1 offense in the NFL that year. Rich Gannon was the MVP of the NFL that year. But your new head coach had been their old head coach, and all I heard after the game was how Derrick Brooks and company knew everything that Rich Gannon was about to do because John Gruden had taught you well. Actually, there's only 1 week to prepare for that game. But that you basically
exactly.
But you did know, according to all the reports I read, what Rich was going to do, what he would audible to, what every little tell was in their offense. And so I must admit, I've discounted 48-21, in which you picked him off 5 times and ran 3 of them, including one by you, back for a touchdown. 3 pick sixes in one game off the MVP. So is that
Skip,
true?
I would. Yeah, what we did was had indicators, just like we do every week. We did not have 2 weeks to prepare for the Oakland Raiders. We had to fly cross country in one day. So I give us even more credit that we was able to go out and do this in a short period of time. Now, what Coach Gruden did, and I think a little bit of that, got, way out of hand. But what Coach Gruden did, though, he gave us a lot of indicators. Hey, if you guys show Rich Gannon this is probably how he's going to think. This is probably what he's going to audible to. And we had indicators going in. But at the end of the day, they knew what defense we was going to play. We didn't, we lined up, we played. You know, and everybody talk about the loss of their center affected them. Well, you know what? When we went back and watched tape, their center actually played pretty good. Now, the tackles, now I can't say the same because our defensive front got after them. But I would say in terms of preparation, though Coach Gruden gave us indicators, we still had to go out there and perform. And they had a run. Remember, going into the end of the second and the third quarter,
they did.
Oakland, they went on a run and kind of got back in it. So the same indicators and plays that we knew about, they made plays against us. But we came back and shut them down in the fourth quarter. Now, I will say they were not used to our speed. And I will say that we didn't have a guys on our team that had Super Bowl experience, very much like Seattle. And they were not prepared for the speed of our defense. And it really started to show in the fourth quarter when they started to get on a run defensively. We came back and shut them down. And I'll say this, even though we're talking about defense, Coach Gruden, he knew their defense. And our offense went out and they ran the football very effectively in the Super Bowl again, which was to the strength of our defense. So from a number standpoint, obviously, I will accept your apology, Mr. Bayless, on national TV. Thank you for doing that. But I want to look forward to see what Seattle does from this point forward with this defense. And I will say this about our defense. We was a very unselfish defense. A lot of us on that football team decided to take less money, myself included, to stay together and be dominant over time. We'll see if that's the same attitude or if Seattle and John Snyder could do the same thing in keeping that defense together moving forward.